The final returns of NBA All-Star fan voting was released last week, and within a few days, we will know which players were voted as All-Stars for the 2023 All-Star Game in Utah. This has been one of the toughest years determining who deserves an All-Star spot due to the insane amount of talent the NBA currently has, and unfortunately, someone's favorite player is going to get snubbed. So instead of staring at your screen in disbelief when the All-Star starters and reserves are revealed, I'm going to give you my full All-Star predictions and which players will unlikely be snubbed. Let's first understand how each conference All-Stars are selected. The starters are made up of 2 backcourt players and 3 frontcourt players from their respective conference. The next 5 off the bench are again 2 backcourt players and 3 frontcourt players, and finally, there are 2 wildcard spots that can be a player from any position and are again selected by the coaches in the league. With that being said, let's start off with the Eastern Conference. My starting backcourt is Donovan Mitchell and Jaylen Brown. D. Mitch leads all guards in points per game, putting up 28 a night, and is a catalyst to how potent the Cavaliers' offense has been when he's on the court. He also leads all Eastern Conference guards in true shooting and is having one of the most efficient scoring seasons in the league currently. Hopefully the crowd in Utah shows him some love in his return. Alongside D. Mitch, I have a possible controversial pick, and that's Jaylen Brown. JB is notching career highs in points per game, rebounds per game, and efficiency, which has helped propel the Boston Celtics to the #1 record in the entire NBA. He's 4th in points per game amongst all guards in the Eastern Conference, giving you 27 a night, while shooting close to 50% from the field. He's 1st in rebounds amongst all guards in the Eastern Conference, and he's still one of the better two-way players in the NBA. Now to the frontcourt starters. This is where it gets really nasty. The 4 possible players with the best cases to choose from was Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Jason Tatum. Fam, literally all 4 of these dudes have MVP cases this year. They're all averaging over 29 points per game. They're all the best players on the top 4 seeds in the East, and one of these guys has to be left off due to only having 3 available starting spots. Through a very long process, I had to send Giannis Antetokounmpo to the reserves. I can't stress enough how hard of a decision this was, and I kid you not, each player should be starting and they all have great cases. But my decision came down to the fact that Kevin Durant is averaging close to 30 on 67% true shooting on less usage compared to all 3 guys, while adding in 7 rebounds and 6 assists per game, carrying the Brooklyn Nets before he got injured. Joel Embiid is averaging 33, 10, and 4 on 54% from the field, shooting 35% from 3, while providing great defense for the Sixers, who moved into a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. And Jason Tatum, who's been the best player on the Celtics with the best record, while providing 31, 8, and 4. Not to mention he's played the most games out of this group by a wide margin, only missing 3 games this season. Giannis is still a superstar and hasn't fallen off a cliff in production, and his numbers are still great, but my choice came down to his dip in efficiency this year and the massive improvements from his competitors. Regardless, it was a very tough decision to make. Now to the Eastern Conference reserves. In the backcourt, I have Tyrese Halliburton and Kyrie Irving. Tyrese has been a catalyst for the success the Indiana Pacers have had this year, and he's earned a spot as an All-Star this season. He's 2nd in assists per game in the entire league and has shown why he's one of the best playmakers in the NBA as of right now. He's doing this while giving you 20 points tonight on 40% shooting from the field and 40% from 3. Since Kyrie returned to the Nets in late November, the Nets have flipped the switch and Kyrie has had a huge role in Brooklyn, now sitting near the top of the Eastern Conference. Filling in his role alongside Kevin Durant, Kyrie has been an excellent second option, averaging close to 27 a game while shooting 48% from the field and 36% from deep. The Nets went on a 12-game winning streak due to the emergence of the Nets offense, led by Kyrie's return. With Giannis filling one of the reserved front court spots, I have 2 spots remaining, and that's going to Pascal Siakam and Julius Randle. Yeah, the Raptors are not a great team this year, but Pascal's still one of the more versatile forwards in the league currently, giving you 26, 8, and 7, and is still giving you good production on 47% shooting from the field. Pascal's still a premier defender despite the struggles the Raptors have had this year. Julius Randle also has earned himself another trip to the All-Star game with his improvement on both ends of the floor that have the Knicks in contention of making the playoffs right now. He's among only 5 players averaging over 20 and 10 in the league and has been the Knicks' best offensive player, which has helped with the recent addition of Jalen Brunson. Randle has been able to have a turnaround from last year where he performed poorly and is now giving the Knicks a solid 24 and 11 a night. With the final 2 wildcard spots, I decided to go with James Harden and Bam Adebayo. James Harden leads the league in assists with 11.2 a game and is providing 21 points a night for the Sixers, who are a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. In games Harden doesn't play, the Sixers are 8 and 6, and when he does suit up, they're 20 and 10, and currently the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Harden, even out of his prime, is still one of the best playmakers in the league. The last spot goes to Bam Adebayo, who many people may disagree with, but I think that Bam has been the best player on the Miami Heat on both ends of the floor, and why the Heat are still afloat for playoff contention. Just like Julius Randle, Bam is averaging over 20 and 10 a night, has a +8 net rating when he's on the court, and one of the better versatile defenders in the NBA. But that brings me to my snubs in the East: Trae Young, DeMar DeRozan, Jalen Brunson, and Jimmy Butler. Trae Young's numbers look great, but he's been slightly inefficient and has been a huge defensive liability for the Hawks. I still wouldn't be surprised if he does end up making the All-Star team though, because he does have good numbers. DeMar DeRozan is another guy who can possibly get in with his offensive production, giving you 26, 5, and 5, but the Bulls have been inconsistent this season, and I think Bam Adebayo's defense gives him the edge in that department. Jalen Brunson has had a great season and has helped the Knicks become much more competitive, but with only 12 spots in the Eastern Conference, Brunson isn't having a better season than any of the backcourt players or any of the wildcard players I've selected. But I gotta give him his credit, he's been amazing for the Knicks. And lastly, Jimmy Butler would have been a possible selection because he's averaging 21 points per game on 51% shooting from the field, but he's only played in 33 games so far this season. I think Bam and all the other frontcourt players in the East have been better this year and available. But let's head over to the Western Conference, which was just as tough to decide who should make an All-Star appearance this year. My starting backcourt in the West has Luka Doncic and Stephen Curry. Luka Doncic leads all guards in the NBA in points per game, rebounds per game, and is second in the league in triple-doubles. Averaging a monster 34, 9, and 9 while shooting 49% from the field, has Luka in many MVP discussions, and there's a possibility he can make another first-team All-NBA selection again this year. Next to him is Stephen Curry, who before he was injured was putting up similar numbers to his 2016 unanimous MVP season. Though the Warriors have struggled this season, Steph has given the Warriors close to 29 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists while flirting with the 50-40-90 club. He's been the sole reason why the Warriors have not bottomed out, and because of his play, Golden State has been able to stay within reach of rising up in the Western Conference. In the frontcourt, my 3 starters are Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, and Lauri Markkanen. I already know what you're thinking, and I'll get to that in a minute, but let's go over Jokic and LeBron. Jokic is the MVP favorite, currently averaging 25 points, 11 rebounds, and only 10 assists per game while having a 69% true shooting percentage. He has the Nuggets as the #1 seed in the West and leads the entire league in triple-doubles as well. Almost every advanced metric has Jokic at the top, and he's only become much more deadly with the ball in his hands now that his full team is healthy again. LeBron James in year 20 is still an impact player in the NBA, and even with a dip in his outside shooting efficiency, LeBron is still one of the best versatile offensive weapons in the NBA. LeBron, even in a down year, is giving us 29, 8, and 7, and for the last starting spot, I had to choose Lauri Markkanen. Lauri has been the biggest surprise this season and is a likely leading candidate to win Most Improved this year. Lauri is having a career year, putting up 24 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, while shooting 52% from the field and 42% from 3, while shooting 87% from the free throw line. But the biggest nod that gave Lauri the starting spot for me was that he's only missed 3 games this year. Anthony Davis and Zion Williamson, who have had better numbers, have each missed over 20 games this season and haven't played over 55% of their respective teams' games. Any one of Lauri, AD, and Zion have the production to have a case to start, but I think it's important to acknowledge player performance and availability. And like I said, Lauri probably won't start, but we gotta give him his praise for proving a lot of pundits wrong about the Utah Jazz and his talent. In the reserves, I'll start with my frontcourt players, and that's Anthony Davis, Zion Williamson, and Domantas Sabonis. AD's only played in 25 games, but he's still clear one of the best big men in the NBA when he's on the court. Despite the Lakers' struggles, AD before his injury was a defensive anchor holding down the Lakers' defense and cleaning up everyone's mess on that side of the floor. While providing elite rim protection, he still provided 27 and 12 with 2 blocks a game. AD again will be my frontcourt starter, but he's missed too much time due to injury to claim that spot, but he's still having a great season. The same can be said about Zion Williamson, who's only played in 29 games this year, but is one of the best finishers in the league attacking the basket. In only year 4, Zion has been superb as a driver and is third in scoring amongst frontcourt players in the West with 26 a game. The Pelicans are a dangerous team when Zion's healthy, and even though he's missed time this year, he's had an impressive comeback year after missing the entire season last season. And lastly, Sabonis is leading the league in rebounds with 12.7 a game and providing 19 points and 7 assists per game as well. Sabonis has been a star with the Kings offense under coach Mike Brown and has led to the excellent performance we've seen from him and Sacramento this year. One of the reasons why the Kings have one of the best offenses in the association. My reserve backcourt in the West has Ja Morant and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Ja is having another great year, posting similar numbers to his previous season, and has the Grizzlies as the #2 seed in the Western Conference, giving you 27 a night with 8 assists while providing the NBA a highlight every single game. Ja has still shown his flash off the court and is just as good on the court when he's been performing. SGA fills in my last spot, and let me tell you, he's taking another leap in his game and has put the Oklahoma City Thunder in prime position to have a successful rebuild. On both ends of the floor, SGA is a leader and puts effort into both areas. He's one of the few players scoring at least 30 a night, and is doing so while shooting over 50% from the field and over 90% from the free throw line. He's easily proven to be one of the best young guards NBA has to offer. For the final 2 wildcard spots, I have Damian Lillard and Devin Booker. Damian might surprise some people due to how the Blazers are slipping in the standings. However, Damian is still one of the better efficient offensive players in the association. 29 and 7 on 62% true shooting is impressive. He's only played in 33 games, but is still producing at an all-star level. And lastly, I have Devin Booker. D-Book is currently injured and he may miss the all-star game, but D-Book has had an all-star caliber year with his production and how his team has looked without him in the lineup. When healthy, Booker was giving the Suns 27, 5, and 5 a night on 47% shooting from the field and 37% shooting from 3, and leading them to an 18 and 11 record. When D-Book has not been available to play, the Suns have a record of 5 and 13 and are currently sitting at 500. D-Book has been their focal point on offense, and in an efficient year, he's provided enough to keep them competitive. But again, this means that there are some snubs in the Western Conference: De'Aaron Fox, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Paul George. D-Fox is having a very solid year and is one of the clutchest players in the fourth, closing out games, and has even had a major role in how well the Sacramento Kings offense has looked. But from the 6 guards I chose from, D-Fox just didn't have enough to edge any of those guys out clearly. Maybe I'm wrong, and somehow he gets his way into the All-Star game, but it's going to be super tough with the guard playing the Western Conference. Jaren Jackson Jr. is the only player in the league to average 3 blocks a game and 1 steal, and since his return from injury back in December, he's been a phenomenal defensive anchor for the Memphis Grizzlies, despite the foul troubles. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been good, but not better in comparison to the frontcourt players I chose before him. And of course, Paul George. PG has been good on offense and on defense this year and has had a very solid season in terms of scoring production, putting up 23 points per game on 45% shooting from the field, 37% from the 3, and 88% from the free throw line. Those numbers aren't bad, but they haven't been great in terms of the rest of the field, and I find it hard to give PG a clear-cut edge as a wildcard all-star reserve this year. But we'll see how the coaches feel when they vote for these spots in a week. That concludes my 2023 All-Star NBA predictions. What do you guys think? What players do you think will become starters, reserves, or snubbed? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. This video took a lot of research to get the most accurate information, so if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel as well. Be sure to turn that post notification bell on so you never miss a video, and until next time, stay on beat.